6 years before the flood. And can you get me a glass out of there? A cup? Go ahead.
And one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races.
Ham became the father of the dark races. Read.
Not the Negroes.
Not the Negroes. So Ham is not the father of the Israelites or the Negroes here in America. Even Zondervan knows that. But who?
But the Egyptians.
The Egyptians, which is Matuzarium or Mizraim in the Bible, Africans. They are not us. Read.
Ethiopians.
Ethiopians, which are Africans, which are not us. Read.
Libyans.
Libyans, which are North Africans. Read.
And Canaanites.
Canaanites, which are South Africans. These are 4 separate families that have nothing to do with the children of Israel. All 4 of these families came from Ham. So how can one today pick one of those 4 sons and claim that all history and civilization came out of one of Ham's sons, when Ham came from someone? That's common sense. If Ham came from someone, which is Noah, how can you say all life came out of Egypt? And if you have history of the boats, you'll know all history came off of the boats. All people came off of the boats. So there was no Egypt until the water settled, and Ham took his son down into that region, and the Egyptians stayed there. So Ham had to migrate into the place you called Africa in order for the Egyptians to get any history. That's common sense. All right, now, was the Israelites in Egypt? Yes, we were. Our people were in Egypt. We were the great kings in Egypt. All right? During the Hyksos period, King Tut, Enhotep, Joseph, name was Imhotep. That was his name. Okay? We're going to get some history out of the Bible. I need you to go to Genesis, the 41st chapter and the 22nd verse, to show beyond any shadow of a doubt the history of how the Israelites got into the land of Egypt. Okay? How can we, there's another thing. There's no way we can say that the Bible is a white man's book if the Bible shows the children of Israel going into Egypt, and we know that the Egyptians were all black people. So how can this be a white man's book when it's showing Moses as a prince in Egypt? It's showing Joseph being king over all Egypt under Ramesses I. And these were all black people. So how can they make these statements that the Bible is a white man's book? Now, let's go to Genesis 7, Genesis 41 and 22. Right? You can follow us along here. Genesis 41, let's start at the 22nd verse. Read. Huh? Start at 32?
Yeah.
Genesis 41 and 32. Start there.
Genesis 41 and 32. And for that dream was
You got to
double
read a
unto
little
Pharaoh.
louder because you got the fan there.
Genesis 41 and 32. And for that dream was double unto Pharaoh twice. It is because the thing is established by the Most High, and the Most High will shortly bring it to pass.
So Joseph had a dream that there will be 7 years of famine and 7 years of plenteous. Okay? And because of that dream, the Pharaoh was able to prepare his store for 7 years of famine. First there was 7 years of plenteous, and the Most High had Egypt so fertile that within that 7 years they was able to store for a 7-year famine. The Pharaoh would not have known this if it wasn't for Joseph interpreting his dream to tell him what was going on. He seen corn and all type of plentiness in his dream, and then he seen a dearth over the land where there was nothing, and he had no one to break it down. But Joseph, an Israelite, which is the father of the Puerto Ricans, that's who they are, was able to interpret the dream for the Pharaoh. And because of that, the people were able to survive. The brothers and sisters were able to survive in Egypt based on that dream. So the Most High rewarded Joseph in Egypt. The king rewarded Joseph in Egypt, and we're going to show that. Read.
Verse 33. Now therefore let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt.
And set him what?
And set him over the land of Egypt.
So you're going to find out that the pharaohs of Egypt set Israelites over the land of Egypt. This is in the Bible. Read.
Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years.
Go ahead.
And let them gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. And that food shall be for store to the land against 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine.
See that? So it was a decree that they would set up some people over Egypt to save Egypt from the famine that was coming. Read the 37th verse.
Verse 37. And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, Can we find such as one as this, a man on whom the Spirit of the Most High is? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph.
He said unto who?
And Pharaoh said unto Joseph.
Joseph, the son of Israel. Read.
For as much as the Most High have showed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art.
He said, you are the wisest man in Egypt right now, Joseph. Now check that out. Read.
Verse 40. Thou shalt be over my house.
Thou shalt be what?
Thou shalt be over my house.
So the king of Egypt is putting Joseph, an Israelite, over all of Egypt. Read.
And according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou.
He said, only in the throne, Joseph, will I be greater than you. That means when people see you, they're going to see a king. When you say